Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Hogan. Drip.
Snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go.
So, guys, gals, it's noon. It just hit noon. And I would like to do my gratuitous plug for the stream if you would allow me to, please.
Look, just because you call it a gratuitous plug segment doesn't make it any less gratuitous. And now that I've done my due diligence of defining what gratuitous actually means, I'm not convinced DSP knows what it means. Gratuitous, not called for by the circumstances, not necessary, appropriate, or justified. Which is accurate for what he's doing, because it's not necessary, it's not appropriate, and it's not justified, because he hasn't done anything that has warranted him getting any money at all, because his product is not good. But like I said, I don't think that he knows that. Because there's no way that he would say that about his own content. He doesn't have the ability to laugh at himself like that. Who knew that DSP was sneak dissing himself the entire time?
If you don't like gratuitous plugs, and you don't like to hear about how you can support your favorite content creators, what I'd like you to do right now is take your two fingers, and I want you to plug them into your ears like this, and if you're doing what I said right now, you can't hear me anymore. So now I could literally say whatever I wanted, and you would have no clue what I'm saying, because you've plugged your ears as instructed. So I could say... no, I'm not gonna do it.
And I know that comedy is subjective, 100%. Not everyone finds the same things funny, but who does that appeal to? There was no payoff, there was no joke. It was just a dumb waste of time from a guy who claims that he has no time to do the things that would benefit his stream. And I know that might be nitpicky, but having done a couple of videos where he's explicitly said that he doesn't have the time to do things, I am actively now looking for places where he could cut time on his live stream where things just aren't worth putting into the show at all. Because I put him on 1.2 times speed for you and that was still just under 30 seconds long. I know that 30 seconds isn't a large amount of time, but it does add up when you do 30 seconds here and then 30 seconds there and then 30 seconds here. And did I mention that it wasn't funny?
But anyway. It's time for a gratuitous plug segment, ladies and gentlemen. I love my job. For 15 years, I've been a content creator here on YouTube. And I've done this for a job full-time since 2011. Yeah, I've been doing it for 12 freaking years. It's the longest running job I've ever had.
I know that he feels a sense of pride when he says that, but seeing this clown show from the outside looking in, I can't help but feel that that statement is kind of sad. I mean, don't get me wrong, streaming is definitely nothing to scoff at. There's definitely an amount of work that goes into it, but not for this guy. Like I said, this guy runs a clown show, and the fact that he's been doing this for 12 years straight, and this is the longest running job that he's had, it should just go without saying that I don't think that this guy would ever make it out in the real world again. If he really had to get a real person job, he could never. And like, not even as a used car salesman. Because who's gonna buy a used car from a guy who's snorting in your ear the entire time you're trying to do paperwork? And he'd be sat there running his hands through his greasy hair the whole time? That's enough to make anybody get up and leave.
It's my best job I've ever had in my life. I love being my own boss, and I love hanging out with you guys and genuinely sharing my opinions and my love and passion for gaming with you all. I hope that's come through in the last 15 years that I've daily put out content for all of you here on YouTube and elsewhere.
And let's look at the things that he mentioned that he loves about his job here. He loves being his own boss. But that should go without saying because I couldn't really imagine Dave being able to work with anybody to any capacity. If you follow the Dent C scrolls, it's come up frequently that most of, if not all of his previous bosses did not like him. And I don't think that that's a coincidence. But he also loves hanging out with his audience and sharing his opinions and his love and his passion for video games. Okay, that all sounds nice and fair enough, I suppose. But I notice a distinct lack of talking about the meaningful content that they love to see. Now, he might have just forgot to say it, but I would imagine that the first thing that you say when you talk about how much you love being a content creator on the internet is talking about how you love creating content for your audience that they enjoy. Because to me, that seems like it would be the most important thing. Entertaining your audience and putting out a product that they want to see should be what fills you with glee. It should be the most rewarding part. Entertainers should love to entertain. But all he mentioned was chatting and sharing his opinion and passion for video games. It's not exactly the same thing.
As you know, there's been other places I've done it too, but YouTube really has become my home over all these years, and I've, figured let's just focus on YouTube since it seems to be where I started and likely where I'm going to end up after all this time, right?
Yeah, YouTube is really the place where you can just spew out garbage content on the internet and not be held responsible for any of your past actions. So I'm not really surprised that this is where DSP would like to be.
All that being said,
big ups to All That Being Said, the spin-off podcast, I suppose.
I'm a lot different than other content creators. First of all, this is my full-time job. But you may have noticed, wait a minute, Phil isn't like a huge guy. He gets a few hundred views on each video he puts out. He gets, a few hundred viewers on a stream. How the hell is he doing this as a job full-time when there's other creators literally 5 times bigger than him, and they say they can't make a living. They got to have side jobs. They got to take on sponsorship deals. They got to be shilling products on their stream constantly. They've got giant events on Patreon and things that they've got to push. Why is Phil able to just sit here and stream all day and that's it, and he can make a living? There's a very simple answer for that. You ready?
Whales.
You.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I said, assuming that the person that he's pointing at and talking about when he says you is OIC or 1 Minute Man. But I would have accepted begging as a correct answer as well, because I think that's the most overarching part of what makes DSP successful, as he calls it. Because without the begging, I just don't know where he would be. I don't actually know the success rate of the beg, but it definitely does work to some extent.
Yeah, you're the reason. While everyone else over the vast 10 plus years had to change their models of how they operated because YouTube wouldn't support it anymore with views and ad revenue, I was able to keep doing what I love because you guys appreciate the fact that I haven't changed.
So while everyone else was figuring out ways to put the least amount of burden on their viewers and still put out content that their audience likes, DSP thought it was a good idea to continue putting out the same schlock day in, day out, and just ask his viewers directly if they would give him money for it. Instead of doing a 30-second segment where he advertises some mobile game that he doesn't play, he'd rather spend multiple minutes on end trying to get the last dollar out of Slayer, the guy who works in a glue factory's wallet. He's like the reverse Robin Hood. Take from the poor and give to the rich being Scopely and WWE champion, and Total Wine, of course.
The fact that on any given day when I put out content, you know that what I'm saying on stream is my truthful feelings about what's going on in a game that I'm playing. You know that if I kiss a game's butt, I have nothing to benefit from it because I'm not one of these golden streamers that gets selected for few promotional opportunities or advanced copies of games or anything like that. I don't get paid to play a game. I don't get free games from publishers. I'm just like you. I buy every single game that I play, and I have the same commitment and investment into it that you do when you buy a game. Okay?
And you gotta love how he talks about not kissing a game's butt just because he gets some sort of unique reward or perk or whatever from it. Because that just means that the inverse is true. That when he kisses a game's butt, it's entirely for free and he gets nothing out of it. And the statement that he buys every single game that he plays and he has the same commitment and investment that I do or that you do just isn't true at all. Because me personally, I don't have Xbox Game Pass and I never will. I'm not gonna give Microsoft money to essentially let me rent games for an extended period of time. I'm okay. I'd rather own my games. So not only does he not buy them because he's just basically renting them from Xbox a month at a time, but also there's been countless times where he just says that he's going to play games on a whim because they're on Game Pass and he's going to have them anyway. So why not? He'll try them out. That's definitely not the same commitment and investment that I have when I purchase games for myself. Also, I'm not using somebody else's money. I do labor for a living.
Vice versa from that. Because I'm a small-time guy, I don't benefit from shitting on games. If I were a big content creator and I shit on a game, I might go viral for a negative video. That doesn't happen. You understand? It doesn't matter if I say something good or bad about a game. It doesn't really benefit me. And because of that, I feel like there's freedom, creative freedom, to say and do what I truly feel because no one's going to really have repercussions because I said something good or bad about a game. You understand?
I mean, one of your most popular videos on KO Gaming, which you talk about frequently, and we even saw on the React show not that long ago, was you just hating on Homefront The Revolution the same way that everybody else hated on the game. So let's not sit here and act like you're above hating on games for your own benefit.
And because of that, my viewers appreciate the fact that I can be transparent. And it's a lot different than a lot of other people out there who constantly are playing crap games or things you never heard of because they're getting paid for it.
Yeah, instead DSP will just play all of the AAA games that release every year. You know, the ones that are increasing their price to $70 and sometimes even $80 for the base game while the quality just gets worse and worse year after year. Those same games that get sold at full price, but then have the worst monetization models on the planet with microtransaction after microtransaction. Yeah, those are the games that DSP would rather play. As if that's any better than just playing the unpolished indie titles that exist on the planet. I mean, obviously it's not black and white that all indie games are good and all AAA games are bad. That's not what I'm saying. But he does treat it as if it's black and white and that AAA games are just inherently better.
All right? So, excuse me. Thank you for the long-standing support that you have given me here on the channel. I'm so happy that I can make a living doing what I love because of all of you. That being said...
Hey, another shout out. Big ups.
I do rely on that support because that's my income. You know, YouTube does have some ad revenue, but really it's the crowdfunding support via live streams and via my on-demand videos that allow me to keep doing what I love. So let's talk about that. First of all, if you're watching this stream right now or you're watching this on demand, engagement is key on YouTube. So giving likes on content that you enjoy, as well as leaving comments on that content, are definitely the ways that you can support this channel. All right, it's called engagement on YouTube. It absolutely is awesome. To those who do it, thank you. To those who just take a few moments out to support the content, I really appreciate it. If you could do that, give it a like or even a comment. A comment that simply says, hey, I like this video, or hey, just trying to help out Phil, like the channel. That's it.
I like that he had to change the script though. I don't know if maybe he realized how bad it sounded, but instead of telling people to, you know, leave a comment that says that they like the video or that they like the channel, for the longest time he was telling people to just leave comments like, this one's for the algorithm, trying to help you with the algorithm. Those are such non-comments, and I honestly can't believe that telling people to do that wouldn't be against TOS to some extent. It just seems like it's in a similar vein to him telling people to click on the ads, which he did get banned for back in the day. His AdSense got banned for telling people to click on the ad. So it's kind of strange to me that that wouldn't be against TOS as well, the algorithm comments.
5 seconds of your time, free, doesn't cost anything, helps this channel a lot. If I'm not even kidding you, if 10% of the people who watch my content left comments and liked the videos and streams, this channel would be boosted massively on YouTube. But I understand that a lot of people just don't take the time to do it. You just watch and move on. If you could give me that extra second, I would appreciate it. All right?
Does he really think that getting a boost on YouTube is actually going to amount to anything for him, though? More eyes does not inherently mean more money for this guy specifically, especially given his track record on the internet. And I don't know why he wants a big boost on YouTube anyway so that he can get more eyes. I thought this was curated content for his already small audience. Why would he want to try and spread his curated content to the wider masses if he already knows that it's not particularly for them? It's almost like that whole entire thing is a cope.
Outside of that, going above and beyond is very much appreciated. How can you do that? Well, number one, super chats, super stickers, super thanks. All ways to say thank you and have a highlighted message, whether it's an on-demand video or whether it's here live in the chat. I'll give you a shout out specifically if you're in the chat, or if you're on demand, I'll give you a like on your comment and I'll say thanks personally for any contribution there. Not every video is eligible for super thanks. It's only videos that aren't claimed, and let's be honest, a lot of videos on YouTube get claimed by third parties, but hey, if you can do it, it's appreciated.
And he does this segment every single day, but he still feels the need to pig-splain how to contribute. I feel as though that the sect of people that are actually willing to contribute to you are already familiar with the systems because they either already contribute to you or they are familiar with the systems because they contribute to other content creators. So this is just another one of those instances where he insists on wasting time every single day doing the exact same thing.
In addition, we've got memberships, and memberships are huge. Memberships are a great way to jump in and buy into a channel on YouTube, quite honestly. You get so many features and benefits here if you become a member. For example, you can get a ton of emotes. I was looking last night, and it's almost like 30, I think, emotes that you get unlocked on the channel if you become a member today.
I don't really ever think that I've heard memberships called an excellent way to buy into a YouTube channel. That just sounds strange to even say. And the first selling point that you bring up for your memberships being the emotes is not all that exciting, to be honest with you. They're just emotes. YouTube gives you a bunch of free ones anyway.
If you're on a live stream, you can talk as much as you want, unlimited, no slow-mo limitations. Everyone else has to wait 10 seconds to put out a message, so that way it stops spam. Members can talk as much as they want.
DSP always going on about how he hates when people get treated differently than the common person. But members are allowed to spam in the chat, it's fine. Also, I don't know why he's so concerned about spam in his chat. His chat's dead most of the time anyway.
You get a cool chat crown badge to show how long you've been a supporter. And you get priority for special events. We literally just outlined how members get special priority for the Halloween event.
That last part where members get priority when choosing things is about the only perk that you actually get that's worth a damn.
So I hope that you will consider becoming a member today. Now, if you're someone who likes this community, likes this content, and maybe you're like, man, I'm in a good mood and I want to help out my fellow viewer right now who's enjoying Phil's content, you can give some memberships to the channel. It's a great way to help out where you can gift, it's called a member bomb, basically. And it is randomized. You can't really select who you want to give it to, but you can do a bomb of memberships that helps out everyone on the channel. And people right now, particularly, would really enjoy getting a membership because of all the new games that are about to come out in the next 2 weeks. People having access to the emotes and everything, they will absolutely love it. I know. So, hey, you want to help out the channel? Memberships are a great way to do it right now. All right? Now,
And I'll be 100% honest with you right now. I actually just learned something. I'm not actually that familiar with YouTube systems, and I did not know that when you gift memberships that you couldn't decide who you gave them to. That honestly seems kind of regarded to me. I get having a random gift option, but I also don't know why they wouldn't let you gift a specific person one if that's what you wanted to do. It doesn't seem like there would be any negative to that.
The last way you can support this channel certainly is not the least, and particularly in the next week to week and a half, this is an amazing way to help out because I need the help right now. All right, tipping.
I mean, when don't you need the help though, DSP? He says that he needs the help right now, like it's any different from any other time. Don't you always need help to fight against the Goliaths that are other content creators? Aren't you our underdog hero who, with just a little bit of support from the people around him, can rise to the occasion? Isn't that basically the tale that you always spin?
Tipping is a direct contribution to my PayPal. Now, normally, I wouldn't care how you contribute to my channel. Anything helps, and everything is greatly appreciated. But I'm in a little bit of a hard place right now. There is a rock rolling at me from behind, and the hard place is in front of me. So before I get squished like a streamer sandwich, let me explain what's going on. Basically, right now, I need to buy a lot of games. At least 4 in the next couple of weeks, and they're all going to be games that are pretty pricey. Nothing there's cheap. While I have to buy those games for the business, YouTube is going to pay me for my monthly performance, all right? However, YouTube has decided this month that, they're going to pay on a weekend. And when they pay on weekends, there's processing time added, which I know this sounds really stupid and technical and really has nothing to do with you. But understand it affects me in a very negative way because I'm not a rich guy. I'm not rolling in dough. I depend on that YouTube payment every month to come through on time. This month, it's not going to come through on time. This month, there's going to be a minimum of 2 days delay, if not 4 to 5 days delay, which is what YouTube says. If you get paid on a weekend, they can delay the payment up to 5 days for processing. The problem is, not only do I have to afford the games for the week coming up, there's 4 games I have to buy within a 1-week period, but I also have other bills coming due. And since the YouTube payment's delayed, I need to have money to pay those bills as well before the YouTube payment comes in.
I could not imagine being the person who discovers DSP streams right before this segment starts. Because like I said, I keep this guy at 1.2 times speed for y'all, as to not waste as much of your time as possible. But imagine being the person who just tunes in for the first time ever and you get over a minute of him explaining to you that he has to buy games for the stream and that he's in a rock and a hard place and that YouTube's going to be behind on his payment and that he's not rolling in dough and that tipping is the best way that you can support. And if you don't know anything about this guy, that's just way too much to handle as soon as you get into a stream, dude. I would be out of there. There's no way in hell that that comes off as positive in any way. And that's why I didn't cut into the middle of it when I definitely could have, because I wanted you to really feel how long that went on for, even at 1.2 times speed. Imagine watching it live where you can't skip it. And imagine you don't know anything about this guy. That would be the worst feeling on the planet. You couldn't get out fast enough.
So basically, I'm tight right now on money to the point where it's like, I hope that I can afford everything. And it's funny because someone said to me the other day, well, why not just not buy the games and just pay the bills? Well, you're right, except then I have no content. If I have no content, then I can't make more money to pay more bills. So, yeah, I could not buy the games and then sit here with my thumb up my butt for several days and not play the new releases, and I don't think that's going to work.
It shouldn't be the case that if you don't buy the new releases that you don't have any content. New games should not be the only thing that people come around for. People are supposed to find you entertaining. They're supposed to enjoy spending time with you in chat and watching you just play games in general. You own a lot of games. You have a lot of games to play. There's a lot of games on Game Pass that I mentioned before that you have not played before. If you were as financially down bad as you say you are, you would just play those games that you already have on Game Pass and just miss out on a couple of the new releases. But no, you insist on chasing those day one views that are just dwindling in support every single time.
So, the deal is, if you are someone who likes the content, if you are someone who is enjoying all these new releases, you love this time of year, and you want to help out, the best way to support right now would be tipping. I'm not saying, hey, don't contribute in other ways, especially if maybe you're someone who doesn't like using PayPal or for whatever reason you can't tip. I get it, all right? I'm not trying to pressure you.
I wish I could remember that dent's name, but I'm pretty sure when DSP transferred from Twitch into YouTube, there was a dent in his chat. He was known for the Chef Boyardee memes. If you know, you know, and someone will tell me in the comments, hopefully. If they do, I'll pin it so everybody knows. But he had this huge thing about how he refused to use PayPal because it gave too much information to DSP. And DSP went on this huge rant about how his paranoia about PayPal is unjustified and he doesn't get any information. And then the last time that guy came around, he told everybody, 100% that PayPal gives DSP X amount of your personal information on the PayPal transactions, and to just be careful, and that earned him a ban. Like I said, hopefully someone will say something in the comments about that guy's name so I can pin it.
I'm not trying to make you do anything above and beyond any normal means. I'm not trying to ask for anything extra from anything someone would normally contribute. What I'm saying is if you have an opportunity to say, hey, I wonder how I could best help out the channel today, tipping would be the way. Once I get paid by YouTube, whenever that may be, because it's supposed to be around the 21st, but it could be upwards of 5-6 days later, whenever that payment comes through, I'm all right. But I don't know when it's coming through.
Jesus Christ, we get it, Phil. You don't know when your YouTube payment is coming through. That check that you claim is only a pittance because YouTube ad revenue isn't enough. I don't know how on one hand you can claim it's not that much, and then on the other hand you're in a tough spot and in a bind because it's not coming in. You can't afford to pay your bills without it. Those two statements kind of counteract each other, but hey, what do I know? I don't know anything about finances other than that spending $890 in one weekend on WWE champions is a bad idea. So I guess I know a little bit more than you.
So right now, the more tips, the better. Gives me that cushion to not only afford all these games coming up, but also to pay those few bills until the actual YouTube payment comes through. All right? So if you can, thanks. If not, no big deal. But I'm just throwing that out there as a way to say, hey, if you can, tip me. That'll help. How do you tip? There's a command right there in the chat, ! Tip. Explains everything. Or you can check the description of any video, any stream that I'm currently putting out, has all the tip information in there. All right? Please consider it. As you know, we have rewards in place for tips, all right? You know, when a certain round of tips are raised, I do things like put on glasses, or you get to pick a silly hat for me to wear, stuff like that.
How dismissive he is when he talks about hitting the goals and putting on the hat and the glasses. It's a wonder how anybody even bothers to hit the goals to begin with and actually want to see that dumb shit. While the vest used to be some sort of sign that he was sticking it to the haters and proving people wrong or whatever garbage he said back then, now the hat, glasses, and vest are just relegated to being some silly thing that he does, and he scoffs at it as if it's stupid and can't believe anybody wants to see it at all anyway. It just seems counterproductive. If those are the goals that you're trying to hit, you'd think you'd be trying to hype these goals up.
And today, particularly, because we're doing the React show, that means that contributions that you contribute during this podcast carry over to that show. Despite the fact that I'm going to shut down on this channel and jump over to another channel, if we raise 50 bucks of tips, that perk, that reward carries over to the next show. I'm not going to reset the leaderboards or anything because we're going from channel to channel. It'll still stay there, okay? Now, here's the thing. I know that we have dwindled in members this month. Over 150 members have been lost, right? But why?
Well, the correct answer to this question would probably be because OIC is on strike right now. OIC has said that they're not going to gift you any memberships, and specifically said that it looks like you're not going to hit your memberships goal, and then after that you dropped 150 members in 1 week, so I don't think that's a coincidence. But I'm sure you're just going to brush that under the rug, because you hate acknowledging that your channel is propped up by about 3 to 4 whales, which is so strange to me, because you would think that if he knew that, he would be more apt to do the things that they like him to do so that they can keep whaling out for him. But like I said, he's not going to acknowledge it. He's going to sweep it under the rug, and I'm sure he's going to have some other dumb excuse on why memberships are dropping, and it's totally not because of his awful content and people not wanting to stick around.
Well, there was a lot of gifted memberships last month, and for the last week I've been asking for support with tips, so everyone's been doing that. So it's, you know, it's on me that the channel is dwindling right now in members. Maybe by the end of the month, things get back to normal, the YouTube payment comes through, then we can focus more on that. If people wanted to do membership stuff, that would be appreciated. You know, we got big events, big games, and the marathon coming up at the end of the month. So hopefully that'll happen.
He said when he was pushing the tips extra hard this week that he can't think long term, which is memberships. He has to think short term, which is tips. But I think that all of the time he would rather just have the tips, because not only does he get them first thing, but they also don't get any sort of special priority after they tip. They get the same standard normal experience that everybody else gets, and there's no reward for tipping. Where with memberships, they get priority during these events, and they get to nominate videos. And sometimes their videos can't be skipped, and they don't have to abide by the slow mode rules. They get these special perks, and DSP just hates things like that. He'd much rather get money and then not actually have to give anybody anything in addition to the garbage content that they already received.
And you know what? I will say this too, because this does get me. It really annoys me. So every once in a while, we get someone who's generous. They'll come to this channel and they'll gift a bunch of stuff. Maybe they'll drop like a ton of memberships, right? Just because someone did that once doesn't mean that you should sit around the chat talking about it constantly and expecting it. Like some people literally this moment just said, oh, well, I hope that so-and-so from last month comes back and just gives everyone memberships again. No. No. And by the way, if they just happen to show up and they're hanging out on a stream, you shouldn't fucking bother them for a gifted membership either. How obnoxious are you, right?
Well, DSP, this is the community that you've cultivated, that you've grown yourself. These whales are so common and their actions are so common that it becomes the standard, it becomes the normal. So yes, a bunch of your regulars are just going to expect that regularly. If a man buys you lunch every Friday, eventually you're going to stop bringing your lunch and then be upset when he misses the one Friday because you expected your lunch to be paid for. I'm not saying that that's right, but what I am saying is that people just grow accustomed to the things that happen regularly.
That just because someone is a benefactor or someone's nice, trying to be a philanthropist around here and be nice to people, doesn't mean that now you have a license to bother them and pester them for free shit. All right? No, because you notice I don't do that, and I'm the one who directly benefits, and I don't do it. So if I don't do it, what gives you the right to do it?
I didn't know that you needed a license to bother and pester people for free stuff. Do I have to go down to the DMV for that? Is that an endorsement that just goes on my normal license? I'm trying to figure out how this works because I would like free stuff. All jokes aside, I think it is funny that DSP claims that he doesn't do that. How many times has he specifically requested that if you're feeling gracious and you want to support the channel to gift membership specifically? Is that not him asking people who are philanthropists, as he calls them, to just give away free stuff? I know we've said this before 100,000 times, but this man just has no ability for self-reflection. He cannot see his own actions from the outside, and he doesn't even remember his actions the next day. And that's truly why he's at where he's at. He just can't better himself in any facet. That's just kind of the moral of the story at the end of every single one of these videos, is that DSP refuses to learn, he refuses to grow, he refuses to better himself in every way. Sorry if at this point you're tired of me saying it, but like I said, that's just the moral of the story every single video. But I'm not gonna quit watching him and making these videos because it's just a train wreck that I can't look away from.
So don't do it. It's against the rules to sit around and say, man, I really hope that so-and-so comes and gifts a bunch of shit. Yeah, well, I really hope you shut the fuck up before I ban you from the chat because we don't want to hear you being like that. That's very ungrateful and very, very not the spirit of giving that these people, you know, should really be having. You should be grateful for the fact that you got something nice instead of demanding it again the next month. That's ridiculous, you know?
DSP giving more advice that he just needs to take himself. He should be grateful that he was given something nice and not just expect it to keep happening. That's in reference to people gifting memberships as a whole. He should be appreciative that they did it and not expect it to happen every month, but that's exactly what happens. He expects these people to make him hit higher and higher membership goals.
So, anyway, that's that. That's the plug segment, all right? Thank you, guys.
So anyway, I guess that was the plug segment. Thank you guys. But in all actuality, of course, it's always big up Snort Hogan for the clip. I appreciate it, brother. Big shout out to all of you guys for watching. I appreciate that as well. As always, I love reading your comments. It's the best part of these videos for me. It really is. Hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. But until then, make sure that you check out other detractor channels and dive deeper into that Snortex.